Hello there, Mia Grady here with a look at what's making headlines in Houston. Starting with a woman in a Tomball senior living complex. She says she's living in a mice-infested apartment where she says dozens of rodents, she's seen them just in the last few weeks. Now, she reached out to KHU 11 and Michelle Choi went there to get answers.
Yeah, residents here tell me they are frustrated, saying it took months of complaints and even the city stepping in order for them to see any real action. The complex disputes those claims, but either way, for 87-year-old Janice Crow, it's been a nightmare.
See under here where they have chewed the cabinet.
Mouse traps, food stored in coolers, towels stuffed under doors. That's been Janice Crow's reality since January. How many mice have you caught in the last several weeks?
I think it's 43.
87-year-old showed us droppings throughout her apartment, as well as holes she says mice chew through here at hometown at Tomball, where she's lived for 4 years. During our interview, we could even hear the squeaking. Miss Janice, I can hear them.
Yes, that's the mice in there now.
Crow says she stopped cooking months ago to avoid her infested kitchen and orders meals instead. Sleep is the biggest challenge.
It's awful. I can't sleep. I don't know when I have slept. I will get in the middle of the bed and I'll wrap myself in the sheet like a mummy, and then I'll wear a mask and leave the lights on because they're not as active with the lights on.
She now sleeps in a recliner instead. And while we were inside her apartment today, our photographer even helped catch 2 live mice.
This is Scott McKinney, our brave photog, removing the mice from Miss Jan right now.
Miss Crow has trapped at this time over 38 mice.
That letter sent to the city of Tomball by neighbor Susie Whedon helped prompt an enforcement officer to come inspect the property this week.
Because these senior citizens cannot do more, than they're trying to do taking care of themselves.
Management at the complex answered our questions via email, claiming they got the first complaint just a couple weeks ago and have addressed the issue by patching holes. But Whedon says more still needs to be done because Janice is paying out of pocket for traps. You need help.
I need help. Desperate. I need help.
Yeah, in addition, the complex management tells us that Janice is currently the only resident who's complained about mice infestation, but they do have bait stations around their buildings. Now, the city of Tomball also got back to us and said that they will continue to monitor the situation and make sure it gets resolved. In Tomball, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
Hopeful Miss Janice gets a solution sooner than later. Now this, federal agents targeting suspected mail thieves in Houston, and we were the only station on the scene as postal inspectors raided what they call an illegal game room. Jason Miles is in the A-Leaf area with how it ties into postal crimes.
Not only was this building raided, we saw a car out front torn apart as well, and we spotted what appeared to be possibly stolen mail.
This is video shared by a neighbor of U.S. Postal inspectors on the scene of an allegedly illegal game room just off the West Park Tollway. And while gaming machines were visible through the forcibly entered front door, agents were primarily after evidence of mail theft or fraud, the profits of which are allegedly used to fund many other crimes.
Over the past 2 weeks, we've seized firearms, we've seized narcotics, we've seized, financial documents.
Houston Inspector in Charge Shamika Jackson spoke on our morning show about the aim of a targeted 2-week-long crackdown.
To dismantle organized criminal networks that are tied to these illegal game rooms and their associated activity, and that includes mail theft as well as financial crimes.
Former Houston Chronicle crime reporter Eric Hansen.
That's good to hear.
Became the subject of a story we did after checks he sent in the mail were intercepted and washed, then used to temporarily wipe out one of his bank accounts.
Have you changed anything at all?
Yes, I haven't mailed the check since then. That was October. I've not mailed anything. No checks.
Hansen even did what officials suggest, and that's to send checks or other important documents from inside physical post offices.
But now, you're not even safe at the post office, so it's good to hear that the postal authorities are really clamping down on this.
While this special operation may be ending, postal inspectors say efforts will continue to try and deliver more arrests related to mail theft.
We're still waiting on details about what may have been seized here today. Meanwhile, advice for you includes checking your mail daily and trying not to send cash or checks in the mail. Reporting from the A-Leaf area, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
Now to a woman's warning after losing more than $90,000 to a scammer. Maria Aguilera has her story.
It devastated me. 66-year-old Cindy Finney says she was trying to start over after losing her husband and selling her home.
And I was just in a very, very vulnerable and depressed state.
Weeks later, she was targeted with a pop-up on her computer warning her device had been infected. She called the number and says she was told to file a report with the Federal Trade Commission. About an hour later, she says she got a call from someone claiming to be an FTC agent.
He had seen my report, but I was already under investigation anyway for money laundering, criminal activity, and possible terrorist affiliations. I lost my mind. I was terrified.
She says the calls continued for 2 weeks. The man on the phone sent documents that looked official. She says she was told her Social Security number was linked to 5 bank accounts, 4 businesses, and criminal activity. And she was instructed to move her money into a safe account. So she did.
So I lost that money.
How much was it?
$90,000, which to me was like $1 million. It was devastating. It was devastating.
Sadly, it's common. Last year, Texas reported more than $1.35 billion lost to scams, according to the American Association of Retired Persons.
Pause, reflect, and really start protecting yourself.
AARP Texas State Director Lisa Rodriguez says most scams share 3 common red flags: an unexpected contact, a heightened emotional state, and an urgent request for money.
How likely is it for them to recover that money once it's gone?
Slim to none, unfortunately.
In Cindy's case,
I finally came to the point where nothing's going to happen for me, but I can help somebody else.
Now, many businesses are navigating a difficult economy as well, and several businesses, including a Houston brewery, have announced they are closing. But Platypus Brewing says it's working on a new project. Here's Troy Kless to explain.
Where the magic happens.
In Platypus Brewing, the Australian spirit is present, especially in the beer brewed by Sean Hanrahan. Anyone in particular that holds a special place in your heart?
Oh, it has to be the Bobby Dazzler. Aussies who are fresh off the boat, as we call it. When they come in, I'll say, here, try this. And they go, oh yes, that reminds me of home.
Platypus made a home on Silver Street for 9 years, but the lease is up at the end of May. Following what Hanrahan calls a down 2026, paired with rising business costs, a decision was made.
We looked at each other and we said, look, is this the right exit point for the business? We've achieved what we wanted to achieve.
But they are turning the key. Like many other small businesses, Christina Lewis is a financial advisor who just moved into 19th Street in the Heights.
The on-again, off-again tariffs and the and all of the changes that are coming down.
The state of the economy hitting everyone, especially food and drink.
We're the front line of that, and yes, we have seen in 2026 a material change in terms of people's spending habits, but we think that's short term.
The Greater Houston LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce is assisting where they can. Tammy Wallace says help with rent, health insurance, and more is out there.
Whether it's a business plan or trying to get over this financial mountain that they're having to deal with. It's all about resources, but it's also about connection and community.
Meanwhile, Hanrahan will spend the next year working on The Oasis, a new community hub on the 610 North Loop near Shepherd.
We'll put the platypus on the bench, give him a break, and whilst we direct all of our attentions into the next wonderful project that we have, and we'll bring the platypus off the bench and put him back in.
The beer will stop flowing, but Hanrahan hopes the support for small businesses keeps going. Australian spirit will live on in Houston. Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.
I'm Cindy Aguirre with a look at your headlines from across North Texas. The sudden shutdown for Spirit Airlines remains top of mind for travelers amid concerns it could have a ripple effect on the industry. Luke Clary asked the head of DFW International about how losing the low-budget airline will affect everyone.
At an airport like DFW, time rarely stands still, but this week Spirit Airlines' clock ran out. Owen Hallinan came to bear witness.
It was kind of sad because they gave their goodbyes to ATC, and ATC wished them the best of luck.
The aviation enthusiast picking up a Spirit luggage tag, a keepsake from an airline that no longer exists.
Oh yeah, now they're all gone.
Surging fuel prices delivered the final blow after years of financial trouble. Days after the airline suddenly closed, you can still see the branding and the kiosks here at Terminal E. Just 2 gates, so a small footprint here, but the loss of Spirit Airlines could eventually be felt across the industry.
Our heart goes out to the thousands of men and women who have had their careers impacted by this bankruptcy.
At DFW's monthly board meeting, the CEO addressed Spirit's collapse and the airport's future.
Spirit was operating out of 2 gates. We're currently building 40 new gates. We'll have over 200 gates when that capital program is built. So it's a relatively small impact, and we expect to see significant growth in DFW over the next several years.
That growth is already underway. A $4 billion Terminal F with 31 new gates for American Airlines.
Aviation is a cyclical business. There are short-term impacts, there are periodic crises that affect the business, but the business has been resilient over decades.
But for Owen and the travelers who counted on Spirit's low fares, the future looks different.
With their ultra low cost model, they push down the pricing for the other carriers. Without Spirit, those prices are going to go up.
At DFW, time never stands still. Travelers will be watching to see where prices land. At DFW Airport, I'm Luke Clary.
We are seeing the aftermath of Grand Prairie canceling a private event meant to celebrate a Muslim holiday. Governor Greg Abbott and critics say having the event at a city-owned space was religious discrimination, while organizers said they had every right to book Grand Prairie's epic waters for themselves. Scoop Jefferson reports on the effect this is having on other members of the Muslim community in North Texas.
We invited everybody, and this is for everyone.
Dr. Rahman Muhammad is just days away from hosting the Muslim Medical Alliance Gala, now 10 years strong.
This event is more focused on the professionals, especially the healthcare professionals who work in North Texas.
The gala comes after a different private event in Grand Prairie celebrating a Muslim holiday got canceled after Governor Greg Abbott said the city must cancel the event. Organizers of that rented space at Grand Prairie's city-owned Epic Waters Park.
This year, initially, the flyer did say, again, Muslims only.
The governor called it religious discrimination and unconstitutional, telling Grand Prairie the city would lose $530,000 in state grants if they allowed it. Grand Prairie responded by canceling the event.
It's unfortunate that the event got canceled, and it got a different turn of events and shape what it was intended to be. But I guess it's totally beyond our control. It's more on the political aspect of it.
Dr. Muhammad's Gala, a private event here at Hyatt Regency Dallas with a diverse crowd. Close to 1,000 people expected to pack the ballroom. The keynote speaker addressing advocacy, followed by entertainment.
In fact, we have a lot of special guests who are not even from Muslim faith, and we invited them as our special guests.
Guests, he says, they hope to see again as the event continues to grow over the next 10 years. In Tarrant County, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
Now to a new rule taking effect at a North Texas mall. Frisco Stonebriar Center says it's issuing a curfew for any guests under the age of 18 starting this weekend. Mitty Hicks spoke to mall goers about the change that's about to happen.
The mall spokesperson we spoke to said there wasn't a particular incident that led to this decision, but a series of incidents. And the overall goal here is to protect shoppers. The spokesperson adding they did not take this decision lightly. So the new curfew is part of the parental guidance program. Trained public safety officers will be stationed at mall entrances to check IDs. After 3 p.m., you have to be 18 years old. Shoppers younger than 18 will have to be with someone that's at least 21 years old. We're told people of age will have a wristband. We spoke to shoppers, and this is what they had to say.
I think that's a good choice, yeah.
Why?
Not only for the safety of the kids, with all the recent things happening in the news, but just for the community in general, and making sure that kids are being looked after and cared for.
We got limited options now. Stonebriar was really a place you could come to, hang out with your friends.
So again, chaperones have to be at least 21 years old. And if you are planning to supervise, staff tell us that you can only supervise 4 teenagers at a time. In Frisco, I'm Mitty Hicks.
South Asians are the fastest growing minority in North Texas, and May is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. The Dallas Mavericks highlighted that culture just before the season ended. Jovan Paniker shows us how fans celebrated their heritage and home team.
Let me hear it one voice. Let's go, Matt.
Around here, celebration is the expectation. The Dallas Mavericks are winding down their season at the American Airlines Center. But there's a little more to celebrate than just game day, and it's before the game even starts.
It's completely new and it's amazing.
Before the crowd ever cheered for a basket, they cheered for a culture.
The weather's great, the sun's out, look at the crowd out there, it's amazing.
This is South Asian Night at the AAC, and there is no shortage of flavor.
South Asians are all about dancing and music.
It's just a lot of energy, a lot of hype.
Welcome out to the Dallas Mavericks South Asian Night.
The fastest growing minority in North Texas, and it's not even close.
So make sure you go around and grab some food samples.
India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, the Maldives, etc., etc.
A new generation of Mavs fans like this season ticket holder.
Our people being presented and showcased in the heart of the city, in the heart of Texas, is huge.
15 years ago, there were a little over 100,000 South Asians in North Texas. Some estimate it's closer to 300,000 now.
I've been to every Southeast Asian country.
Most of the Texas population has no idea about the culture or the people or maybe even where it is on a map.
It was just 10 years ago the Mavs made history by drafting Satnam Singh, the first Indian-born player to the NBA.
One thing that we can hope to do is just continue to use our platform for good. Just like Satnam was able to put a lot of Indians on the map for basketball.
Lately, there's been a lot of negativity surrounding Asian immigrants, made worse by state politics. You wouldn't notice that today.
People are afraid of what they don't know.
And I think opportunities like this make it better for all of us to kind of understand one another.
All this high-energy expression is the perfect intro to the game, where it carried on. It's the night Victory Park turned into Victory Hardy in Dallas. I'm Jobin Puniker.
And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Hello, meteorologist Jeremy Baker here with your Texas News Now forecast. You can see for the next few days, we've got chilly mornings, mainly for the first day or so. But then in the afternoons, we have chances for pop-up showers and storms across much of central, south central, and north central Texas this weekend. We've got some decent temperatures, a warming trend, though, so anything cool over the next day or two, we're going to warm up quite nicely as we head back to seasonal averages or so. And then next week, better for mom, at least for Sunday itself, dry for the most part. And then we have rain chances out of here for a few days for the most part for the first part of next week. Then things getting a little wet once again. Amarillo for your Friday, you're 84. Saturday, 92. Sunday, we cool down for Mother's Day, a little windy, a high of 73. Further to the south, Austin starting out at 79 on Friday. Pop-up showers and storms Saturday, the high of 86. And then Mother's Day, warmer, 89. Corpus Christi going from 84 on Friday to 92 for your Mother's Day. And most areas dry for Mother's Day. Waco, a chance for a couple pop-up showers and storms. El Paso getting back into the 90s both Saturday and Sunday. High temperatures in the mid-90s. San Antonio looking at a high of around 80 degrees for Friday, but then heading to the upper 80s to around 90 as we head through the weekend with the best chances for showers and storms on your Saturday. And we'll take a look at the Futurecast. We'll walk you through it. You can see the clock in the corner starts you out Friday morning, 8 a.m. So for your Friday morning, this morning, we're looking at a lot of cloud cover out there, especially for areas like Corpus Christi, northward to San Antonio and Austin. Dallas seeing some more sun breaks there during your morning on Friday. During the afternoon, though, we do see a bit more sunshine, but notice things getting more active by the end of the afternoon. Here we are at 6 o'clock in the evening. We've got some showers and storms forming along the Rio Grande, heading from Mexico into South Texas. Areas to the north, they're not looking too bad. Most of Friday, sunshine for Dallas, San Angelo, all the way up to the Panhandle. And then we see the best storm chances, mainly south of San Antonio, overnight Friday night into Saturday, with one storm system rolling through an upper level area of low pressure. Another one in the eastern areas of, say, south of Dallas towards Houston, Friday night into Saturday morning. Both of those systems move out, so a lot of Saturday morning into the early afternoon looking dry. But then we do have some more showers and storms firing up along the coast toward the coastal plain, north of Corpus Christi through the Houston area. Back further to the west by the end of the day on Saturday. San Antonio not looking too bad. A few isolated showers and storms. Austin dry, Dallas too. But then we've got this another system about to move through northern parts of the state Saturday evening. The good news is by Sunday for Mother's Day itself, most of that peters out. And we'll have most of Sunday dry for most areas on your Mother's Day. So if you're planning any activities for Mother's Day outside, possibly barbecuing, most of the state looking good. We are watching this system, though. Sunday afternoon, north of Dallas, that will swing through and could give Dallas some rough weather Sunday afternoon. San Antonio and Austin could see isolated showers coming out of that and thunderstorms, mainly Sunday night into early Monday morning. So Mother's Day for most areas looking pretty good. We continue to see improvement on the drought front. We keep getting isolated and scattered areas of showers and thunderstorms. Still have that large area of extreme drought conditions south of San Antonio toward Corpus Christi, exceptional within that as well. That's the worst drought category. Further to the north, Austin also in extreme drought, but around San Angelo and areas to the northern hill country, not seeing any drought whatsoever. So that is definitely some good news, and we'll continue to bang away at this as we get more storm chances rolling through over the next couple of weeks. Rainfall outlook is looking good, above average rainfall for most of Texas, including northern parts as well. So we're looking good on that front. Your forecast, western zone seeing a lot of sunshine, temperatures into the 80s and 90s. Central, chance for some showers and thunderstorms, mainly Friday night into Saturday. South and the valley, we're looking at temperatures ending up in the 90s. And then north and east, we're looking at warming temperatures as well heading into the weekend. There is your extended forecast. Corpus Christi looking at mostly 80s. A few areas with low 90s, though. Houston also mostly 80s. And Lubbock, we're seeing a switch from 90s down to the 70s on Sunday for Mother's Day, and then back into the 90s for the rest of the forecast. Hope you have a wonderful day and a great Mother's Day weekend, too.
I'm Quita Culpepper in Austin. Summer camps across the state of Texas will open later this month, and many camps are scrambling to comply with new standards passed by state lawmakers last year after the deadly flooding at Camp Mystic. Reporter Daniel Perot has more on how camps are navigating the challenges and preparing for this summer.
I think the biggest challenge for us has been the unknown.
As they check safety harnesses and put finishing touches on a new horse riding area, a cloud of confusion hangs over Camp Double Creek. It's among the hundreds of camps still waiting for a new state license.
You're just looking out over all of nature.
Camp Director Dan Neal says 1,300 kids will spend part of their summer there.
We're not safety experts, but we have become safety experts over the course of the last 6 to 8 months.
Last summer, the state overhauled camp safety rules after 27 campers and counselors died at Camp Mystic in Kerr County. Here at Camp Double Creek, the biggest changes aren't things you can see like the ropes course behind me. It's things like policies, procedures, and training. It'll be a different summer, but Neal says he hopes that campers won't notice.
We will be able to communicate with parents that we were offering this experience in a safer way, but the campers are not going to feel any different. They're going to get the same great, wonderful experience.
There's been nothing easy about it for sure. It's been very expensive.
Mount Lebanon Summer Camp in Cedar Hill has spent more than $100,000 on things like a new public address system and a two-way radio system. They took down their playground and are putting ladders in cabins so campers can escape to the roof in the case of a flood.
Our guys are out today working on our egress lighting, and we have plenty of lighting around camp, but there's more requirements.
The state is working with camps to finalize their emergency action plans. There's a push to address some of the issues with the law in a special session, but that does not look likely.
We've never been more equipped or more trained or just primed for a great summer of camps and the safest summer I think we'll ever experience.
Camps are hopeful they'll be able to get everything sorted out before the first campers arrive after Memorial Day. Daniel Perot, KVUE News, Austin.
It's been 2 months since a devastating mass shooting at a downtown Austin bar. Now federal investigators are telling us more about the deceased gunman. The FBI now says he had no ties to foreign terror organizations, but he may have been motivated by military action in Iran. At around 2 a.m. on March 1st, investigators say that gunman shot a man in a parking lot near Buford's Bar on West 6th Street before walking over and opening fire on the bar itself. 3 people were killed and more than a dozen others hurt. According to the FBI, the gunman was seen wearing a shirt that said "Property of Allah" on the night of the shooting. And he admired the Iranian Ayatollah who was killed in a U.S.-Israeli strike on the day before the shooting. So they say his grievances with the military action, coupled with personal triggers, culminated in a violent, impulsive attack. Austin police killed the shooter just after responding to Beaufort's. A leadership shakeup at Uhland City Hall after multiple officials resigned, including Mayor Lacey Duke. Now residents there are left wondering who will lead the city moving forward and how those vacancies will be filled. Reporter Jose Alonso headed to Uhland to find out.
Controversy looms over Uhland City Hall as employees and elected officials are swiftly resigning. This includes the mayor, mayor pro tem, and city attorney.
I believe it's a new wind of change, and you can feel it right now blowing.
It's caught the attention of multiple Texans with ties to the small town, like Yolanda Tobias Romo.
Because I wanted to know what was going on with my community, with my family's home.
Navigating these changes is City Administrator Hayden Brodowski.
State law requires that you cannot have 2 active vacancies at one time. So the way it works is 8 days from the vacancy, the city must either appoint somebody or hold a special election in the future.
Before the mass exodus, Mayor Lacey Duke was arrested by the Texas Rangers in December for allegedly misusing city money tied to the 2024 Uhland Fall Fest. When asked about the felony she's facing, Mayor Lacey Duke previously told KVUE in a statement last December that she's innocent and is vigorously working to prove her innocence. The mayor kept her role after her arrest, but submitted her letter of resignation on Monday, right after Saturday's local election, when some new council members were elected. Duke shared a statement with KVUE saying, quote, "Regarding the future of the city of Uhland, I still have hope for its restoration and positive progress, but I have no faith in that potential at this time in the hands of the people who I experienced as deniers of facts, healthy municipal advice, and sound governance."
While I do live in a political environment, the day-to-day operations have no politics. I tell everyone I talk to, potholes, water lines, and sewer lines don't care who you voted for, right? So for me, you can rest assured knowing that even though there is a lot of drama out and about right now in the city of Uhland, inside of these walls is a government that is striving to be for the people.
The city attorney, Tyler Stevens, says in his resignation letter, in part, quote, "Despite our best efforts, we have not been able to assist the council in resolving differences, reducing tensions and personal attacks during meetings, or establishing a more predictable framework for addressing city matters." Although this rural Texas town is facing leadership changes, it's on track to move forward this Monday when City Council holds a special meeting. In Uhland, Jose Alonso, KVUE News.
Caldwell County could soon see a major boom in data center development. Some neighbors say they're concerned about how these projects could change communities, while county leaders say the data centers could bring new opportunities. KVUE's Brianna Perez spoke with both sides about what may be coming next.
Very delicious and nutritious.
For 15 years, Derek Imadi has lived in Caldwell County.
These are some of the best peppers you'll ever eat.
Growing crops across 10 acres of land.
Anything from tomatoes and peppers to spinach and lettuce.
But recently, he has been seeing changes to the area.
There was hardly any neighbors. That's rapidly increased.
And he expects more on the way.
This prime location, which is going to be, right over here, it's going to be in my vision.
Imadi says his property will soon be surrounded by data centers planned in the area and worries about the impact they could have on both his land and quality of life.
It's going to be crazy, in my opinion, for such a large industry just to move in with all the ramifications that it comes with massive buildings, massive construction.
Imadi says he moved here for the peace, quiet, and open space, but he fears that could all be taken away. From his property, he says he will soon be able to see construction starting, and he's concerned about what this could mean for the future of his farm.
I don't understand the circumstances of why they're picking right here. And obviously, this is happening everywhere.
County Judge Hoppy Hayden says while 4 companies have been eyeing land in the county, only 1 project is set to undergo construction so far and bring in 52 jobs to the area. Hayden says the county is attracting more interest because counties in Texas have no zoning authority, meaning they cannot block certain types of development from being built near homes or neighborhoods.
And that is not just here, that's all 254 counties. And so it's no accident that data centers are primarily looking in rural counties with lots of land in the unincorporated areas of the county.
However, he says the county is pushing for responsible development through tax abatement agreements that include requirements like water-saving cooling systems, dark sky protections, and limits on water use.
I'm not a great proponent of them, but when they arrive here, I do have to deal with them.
Through the trees over there, you can see the top of the electrical substation.
Meanwhile, residents hope their voices are heard.
You know, do what's right for the citizens and not for the corporations.
In Caldwell County, Brianna Perez, KVUE News.
KVUE has reached out to Prime Data Centers for comment about the development, but did not hear back. And that's all from us here in Austin. Hope you have a great day.
I'm Mike Gillespie in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's making news in South Texas. A massive AI data center is coming to the coastal bend, and with it, questions about what it could mean for our region's water supply. Michael Gibson brought those concerns to local leaders and environmental groups.
HUD 8 says it plans to develop a massive artificial intelligence data center campus in Nueces County called Beacon Point. One city council member says she's heard the project could be located along Highway 44.
From my understanding, it is off 44 between Calicote and Violet. That's my understanding because my granddaughter lives out there, and I think it's going to back up to their property. So I just want to make sure it's environmentally safe.
The company says the project uses a closed-loop water system that doesn't require huge amounts of water. But there are concerns about the large amount of electricity that will be needed to power AI computing systems. That has some environmental groups worried about possible impacts.
My main concern is the electricity. You know, how's that going to impact our electricity rates? Another one is microclimates. There's been a lot of studies that it increases the temperatures nearby by like 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
Supporters say the project could also create technical and industrial jobs. Del Mar College officials say several of their programs could help train that future workforce.
There's a number of programs here at Del Mar College that are ready and able to support the workforce needs ultimately.
HUD 8 says the facility could eventually support up to 1,000 megawatts of utility power. The company says the first phase could be energized in early 2027. Michael Gibson, 3 News.
And while one major project is looking toward the future of the coastal bend, a local landmark may soon be coming down. Nueces County leaders say that they're a step closer to the process of demolishing the Nueces County Courthouse, which, by the way, was built in 1914. Josh Maxwell has more from inside the historic structure.
A core piece of Corpus Christi's history is taking a major step toward demolition. In Tuesday's TERS meeting, the board approved to take $2 million in TERS funding to tear down the old courthouse. Corpus Christi at-large Councilman Roland Barrera says using TERS funding for a project of this nature is rare.
Funds are supposed to be for economic development. And so typically you would want to have some type of pro forma, whereas as a result of this investment, there's going to be some type of return.
Nueces County Precinct 1 Commissioner Mike Postal says while there's not a set date,
I'm hoping the courthouse will be on the ground before the end of this year.
But before anything can be done on the inside, Postal says working conditions have to be optimal and safe.
You want to make sure that the people who have to work there during the demolition process are not exposed to any hazardous chemicals or asbestos fibers floating in the air.
Postal says this steady momentum is all thanks to the allocated TERS funding, which will back a huge portion of the project.
They will make 2 payments to the county of $1 million each. One of the payments will be done before the end of the 2026 fiscal year.
While the funding was granted, Barrera points out it did take a long time to get to this point.
Well, the number one is because it's been so expensive. And then I think there's also the uncertainty of when the bridge was going to come down. County didn't have the money, and so now apparently during our church meeting, there was an indication they had a benefactor, that somebody that was going to assist in funding the demolition.
And that's something we'll keep an eye on here for sure. But that is a quick look at some of what's making news in South Texas.
And here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. After years of legal fights, TPC is going to have to pay another $37 million to victims of the 2019 Port Neches refinery explosion. That blasted injured residents, damaged homes, and led to federal criminal charges against the company. 12 News sat down with two lawyers and a client who were part of the lawsuit. Anchor Claudia Rhodes has more.
If it weren't for Judge Turncalli, none of this would have happened, because he wanted to give the victims a chance to be heard.
A $37 million settlement has been reached for victims of the 2019 TPC refinery explosion. According to personal injury attorney Mark Sparks, his firm, along with Brent Kuhn and other attorneys, collaborated to fight for justice for 7,000 victims.
In addition to that, there's a $3 million amount that they will pay to what we call the fence line facilities.
Sparks says TPC was underinsured to fully compensate victims and later filed for bankruptcy. Sparks says when an arraignment in federal court turned into a plea agreement, it raised concerns about whether those affected, like Susan Cormier, would ever see justice.
It's not enough to make me whole.
But a federal criminal charge against TPC changed that. It opened the door for criminal restitution, allowing victims to receive more compensation despite the bankruptcy.
The good news of the additional money is helpful.
Cormier spoke to 12 News at a press conference held at Brent Kuhn's law firm, saying her home is still receiving repairs more than 6 years later. She hopes to use the money to continue the repair process.
So these funds are allotted for criminal restitution reimbursement. It is not for pain and suffering, unfortunately. It is not for loss of a loved one, unfortunately, or mental anguish.
Sparks says although the settlement is a significant step forward, there's still much more to be done.
Born and raised in Beaumont, both my granddads worked in the refineries. I'm all about the refineries. I just think there needs to be a little bit more caution and a little bit more consideration of the community in which they live. Have sufficient insurance to protect the community from these types of disasters.
And 12 News is your hurricane headquarters ahead of hurricane season. Scientists with the federal government, they came to Lake Charles on a hurricane awareness tour. 12 News reporter Cameron Burchett, she explains how these agencies, they work together to track data and predict where storms will go.
Here at the Chenault International Airport in Lake Charles, several hurricane organizations, experts, and scientists gathered for a day full of education about gathering storm data. A fleet of hurricane hunting aircraft touched down on Wednesday, giving a behind-the-scenes look at how forecasters track and predict dangerous storms ahead of hurricane season.
All of these aircraft are used for hurricane hunting.
Doug Kramer is a warning coordinator meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Lake Charles.
We've got a C-130 here, we've got a P-3, and we've got a King Air.
Scientists in these aircrafts collect critical storm data and feed it into sophisticated forecasting systems. Kramer says the advancements of technology have allowed them to be one step ahead when time is crucial.
One of the biggest technology is artificial intelligence. We're starting to incorporate that into our hurricane forecasting, and we're starting to see some positive results from that. But then also just the instrumentation that are on these planes have improved over the last few years.
Also at the NWS in Lake Charles is Stephen Carboni, the meteorologist in charge. He shared the data that these planes can collect.
Information on the wind field, the structure of the storm, things like its pressure, and all that data gets fed back out, to the forecasters at the National Hurricane Center.
That's where you'll find National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan. He says that data helps track the forecast more accurately.
And that data comes to us in real time. The NOAA aircraft also has a tail Doppler radar on it, so it's essentially like flying a radar into the hurricane. And all that data makes the track and intensity forecast from the model guidance 10 to 20% better. So we really want to have the aircraft in the storm as early and as often as possible.
The group's end goal is to ultimately better understand storms and improve warnings before storms threaten communities.
It doesn't take a major hurricane making landfall in your community for there to be dangerous impacts.
Director of the National Hurricane Center, Michael Brennan, says now is the time to begin preparations for hurricane season as we begin to get closer to June 1st. In Lake Charles, Cameron Burchett, 12 News.
And those were the headlines here from Southeast Texas.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. We know the names of the 2 San Antonio police officers who shot and killed a wanted man. It happened last night at the Mission Villa's apartment near Southwest Military in Flores. SWAT officers were trying to arrest a man who was wanted on multiple felony warrants. Police say the suspect ran, pulled a gun, and fired at them. 2 officers returned fire, killing him. The officers are identified as Jonathan Reyes and Salvatore Hernandez. Both men are 14-year veterans with SAPD. They're now on administrative leave. The San Antonio man accused of shooting 7 people and killing 2 in an Eagle Pass casino has been found competent to stand trial. The update comes from a Maverick County courtroom where the judge says Kyrian Rashad Jones will now take an insanity test. At Jones' arraignment, he pleaded not guilty to the charges. According to court records, his next status hearing is scheduled for 10 a.m. on June 3rd. State officials say they're not currently considering the death penalty in this case. Fire investigators are now saying they believe an electrical issue led to a fire that killed more than 20 dogs on Wednesday. Sue Kalberg has the story.
The firefighters who tried to help told me this was a really tough one.
Take your axes till we get some saws here and try to cut that wall to get those dogs out.
The home was fully ablaze when firefighters rolled up here, so the effort was intense.
Get in as close as you can and try to rescue those dogs. Cut the wall, do whatever you have to do.
Early on, they knew lots of lives were on the line.
Chief, we got reported 26 dogs in here. All right, everybody, there's 26 dogs in there. Just cut holes in the wall and see if we can get them out.
They tried everything.
Hey, Kevin, break that window.
Dumping as much water as fast as they could.
Everybody just open up those 1 3/4 and drown everything. Let's see if we can save the dogs. Just drown the building.
I'm a dog lover.
One neighbor rescued the only dog they could get to. She's calling her Lady because she doesn't even know her name.
Luckily, we got the outside dog, and she's fine. She's on the porch. I'm volunteering to take her to the vet, even though she's not mine. I just want to make sure she's okay.
Animal Care says they believe the 24 dogs were all adults. The investigation into the cause, which is believed to be electrical, continues. In East San Antonio, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
Chaotic video following the Spurs' most recent playoff win shows fans being shoved and tackled as they clash with police. All of this happened as people celebrated along Southwest Military Drive. 2 people were arrested. Simone Simpson heard from a man who was inside that crowd.
Spurs fans were fired up after the game, celebrating by honking and waving their flags on Southwest Military. But that's when things escalated.
Move out the way a little bit. Move out the way. We're working right here.
Some people, I'm not going to say everybody, but there's certain people who just ruin it for the crowd. They didn't know how to act, and I guess the police just acted accordingly.
This man, who wants to be called John Doe, captured this video early Thursday morning after midnight on the south side of Military Drive. He says things didn't start to go downhill until a person in the red car started revving their engine in light of the celebration.
What I did see was the police come, because it's a one-way, so they came this way down the one-way just to stop him. I feel like the police were doing their job to an extent. I do understand that the crowd of people actually annoy and get under like the police's skin. And I feel like that also had to play into their actions.
Actions like these, shoving, caught on camera. It even extending to people being tackled.
And I do know that a very huge crowd rushed the street, and you know, it's their job to keep people out of the street. I know some people were, you know, off alcohol and don't like to listen, so I know that also comes into play.
SAPD says Wednesday night celebrations led to 2 arrests, also saying in part, quote, several individuals engaged in unsafe and illegal activity which resulted in SAPD officers having to take enforcement action to maintain public safety. Reporting for KENS 5, I'm Simone Simpson.
A win for the Spurs means free food at different places across San Antonio. Taco Palenque has handed out more than 10,000 tacos since the playoffs began. Rania Kaur was there as fans got their freebie.
It's been a busy morning here at Taco Palenque as people have cashed in on getting their free taco after the Spurs win last night. This location in Stone Oak is one of their more popular places where people have flocked to get the free taco. Spurs fans can either choose between bean and cheese or potato and egg by just mentioning the Spurs taco at the register or redeeming the taco on the app with the code SPURSWIN.
Yeah, sometimes the line is too big, so they go out for the parking. The people is on the line over here on the corner. So yeah, just come, ask for your taco, and you got it.
Anytime the Spurs win in their race for Seis, Taco Palenque offers the promotion the next morning from 6 to 9 a.m. For more information on where you can cash in this freebie the next time the Spurs win, head to our website, kens5.com. In Stone Oak, Rania Kaur, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Governor Greg Abbott says preparing Texans for high-demand careers is a top priority. He visited the Texas State Technical College campus in Waco to talk about the future of skilled training and how the college is helping meet the state's growing needs. 6 News anchor Adriana Alexander has the details.
As Texas continues to grow at a rapid pace, state leaders say the demand for skilled workers is growing right along with it.
How do we train those employees with the exact skill set that employers are looking for?
That's one of the reasons Governor Greg Abbott made a stop at Texas State Technical College in Waco Wednesday, highlighting the school's role in training the next generation of Texas workers.
Texas ranks #1 for economic development, #1 for the most new jobs, #1 for the creation of the need for the workforce training to train the workforce to fill all of these jobs.
TSTC prides themselves in offering programs in fields varying from welding and construction to cybersecurity and aircraft pilot training. And these kinds of jobs are needed more now than ever. So BlackRock, one of the largest private equity firms in the world, has stepped in.
We looked at, okay, where and who can we give our foundation money to work this out.
Their CEO, Larry Fink, announced the company is investing $30 million into Texas technical colleges like TSTC to help train more electricians.
I actually believe many more companies are going to join BlackRock in building out future builders. We're broadening economic success for more Americans.
And Abbott says continuing to invest in the next generation of skilled workers will help Texas keep growing and thriving.
Texas being #1 for the most jobs, the best economy, and by definition, that would mean #1 for the best workforce in the United States.
The governor also highlighted the state's investment in career and technical education, saying Texas has put more than $8 billion toward workforce training over the past 2 legislative sessions. Meantime, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, a time dedicated to breaking the stigma around seeking care and recognizing the warning signs in ourselves and the people that we love. 6 News reporter Cindy Walker has more from a healthcare professional about what she says is a mental health crisis in our country.
May serves as a reminder that mental health is health.
I really hate it that we separate mental health from health. Our physical health affects our mental health, and our mental health can affect our physical health.
Dr. Amy Mursiovsky emphasized it's more important than ever.
We have a mental health crisis in the U.S. We have so many people that are having a hard time functioning.
Here's some signs that someone may be struggling. First, behavior shifts, like from positivity to anger, sadness, and anxiety.
They've never called into work before, and now they call out 3 times in 3 weeks.
Extreme changes.
They may have incredible highs in their behavior, kind of a euphoria, or they may have some incredible lows.
Unhealthy sleeping or eating.
They may be sleeping way too much, or they're not sleeping at all, eating enough, or they're eating everything in sight.
Also, something unique to our area, the mental toll of war.
We have so many of our service members who have been in those war zones before. Their families have had to navigate that.
Looking out for signs of substance abuse or self-harm is also important.
We have to support each other and help each other where we can.
But Mursiovsky emphasized we have to take care of our own health too.
Making sure you're getting enough rest, making sure you're eating healthy, making sure you're trying to reduce your stress where you can.
But also,
No one should be ashamed if they need help.
take advantage of professional help.
Therapy can also help give some coping mechanisms and give some support to that person. Medications can be extremely helpful.
If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available 24/7 by calling or texting the number 988. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. This week, schools across East Texas are celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week, recognizing the educators who shape students far beyond the classroom. Jacksonville and Nacogdoches ISD teachers tell CBS 19's Nayeli Carrillo that the job is about much more than the lesson plans. It's about building relationships that last a lifetime.
For kindergarten teacher Lauren Ross, the school day starts with more than just ABCs and numbers.
We hatched baby chicks this year for the first time, and we also had butterflies.
While in her 4th year teaching at Westside Elementary in Jacksonville, she was named both Campus Teacher of the Year and Elementary Teacher of the Year district-wide.
I want this to be a safe place for the kids to come every single day, for them to feel safe to make mistakes and be themselves and speak out and have their own personalities.
Ross says some students arrive having never stepped foot in a classroom and says it's important to meet students where they are.
Not everyone's milestones are going to be the same, and that their willingness to show up and give their best is the best.
Down the road in Nacogdoches, educator Cynthia Bean says after 46 years in education, that's the message that still guides her today.
We've got to just make sure that meet them at their needs, meet them where their needs are. So they've got to be flexible.
Teacher Appreciation Week brought support from across the community, with churches, local businesses, parents, and students stepping in to celebrate educators.
So much of what teachers do is not seen. It's the worrying and staying up at night and making sure you're meeting kids where they are. And so just letting them know someone sees them and appreciate all their effort.
Whether it's 4 years or 46, these East Texas educators say the reward comes from knowing they've made an impact, one student at a time.
I teach greatness, and so I inspire them to be the best you can be.
It is hard to let go at the end of the year, but I just remember that I've taught them everything that I can, and I always remind them of, you can do hard things and you can do anything you put your mind to.
For CBS 19, I'm Nayeli Carrillo.
And hands down, we have the best teachers here in East Texas. A day meant for celebration at UT Tyler also became a moment of remembrance. Saturday's graduation ceremony at the university marked the beginning of a new chapter for many students. But for the family of one student, it was also a chance to honor a future their daughter never got the chance to finish. Here's CBS 19's Renee Estrada.
Teaching was Maddie's true calling. And while she is not here with us to walk across this stage and receive this degree, we pause to recognize her hard work, her commitment, and the impact that she has made on those around her.
At UT Tyler's graduation ceremony, families gathered to celebrate new beginnings. But among the caps and gowns was also a tribute to a student whose journey was cut tragically short.
She was hilarious. She had a great sense of humor. She was funny. All the things you could want for your children. She was all of that and then some.
23-year-old Madison Hall died last November after authorities say she was attacked by 3 dogs while dog sitting at a Tyler home. But last weekend, her name was called alongside the rest of her graduating class.
Because she was so close to graduation, if she was eligible for a posthumous degree, and right away they were like, yes, absolutely.
For Hull's loved ones, the moment was a reminder of the future she had already started shaping, one centered around teaching.
She got her bachelor's of science in early childhood education.
And though Hull never got a chance to turn her tassel alongside her classmates, her family says her spirit still made its way across the stage.
Everybody was just really, despite the circumstances, in good spirits, and just really happy to be here to celebrate her and what she had accomplished.
In Tyler, Renee Estrada, CBS 19.
And that's a wrap for your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.